Is your advice for someone who lives with chronic pain? Wow, that's a tough one. How can I discipline myself mentally in order to be productive when I feel awful all of the time? What coping methods can I use? Look, the first thing I would say, this is a question posed by Shivers, is like, if you're suffering chronic pain, one of the things you can do is try not to judge yourself too harshly, man. That's really rough. And why don't you start by assuming that if you're having a hard time disciplining yourself, that it's actually a consequence of the chronic pain rather than a moral fault? Like I've dealt with lots of people who've had terrible chronic health problems, and you want to push yourself because you don't want to end up in a situation where the disease condition is taking more away from you than it absolutely has to. So you attempt to impose minimal disciplinary structures on yourself to push the illness back as much as you can. But if you're in chronic pain, I would say you need to find someone that you can trust to talk to so that they can help you plan. And you need to be able to delineate out what your limitations are in a manner that they can understand so that you can jointly focus on how to make productive use and high quality use of the time that you can actually spend outside of merely suffering. The other thing that I would ask you about is, are you sure that your medication regimen is adjusted optimally? Because antidepressants, for example, can be very effective long-term medication for chronic pain, especially drugs like Celexa. So I don't know if you use an antidepressant in your attempts to manage your chronic pain, but that's something I would definitely recommend. And there's a lot of pharmaceutical treatment, and you may have run the gamut already. I know lots of people who have chronic pain have done that, and also stimulants like the ADHD medications can also be helpful in the management of pain, because stimulant medication has analgesic properties. So you might want to consult a number of specialists about your medication regimen to see that you're medicated to the optimal degree. But I would definitely recommend antidepressants. And also find talking to someone, find someone you can trust so that you can talk to them about your genuine limitations and how you might transcend them, and also see if you can not torture yourself with guilt because you aren't able to live the productive life that someone who's free of chronic pain might. I mean, it can be unbelievably debilitating. So mostly, so I'm very sorry to hear that that's plaguing you. And when you say, how can I discipline myself? I'm sorry, I'm afraid I've lost the question. You said, how can I discipline myself? It's something like, how can I discipline myself when I'm in chronic pain? It's like, well, I think a more appropriate question might be, how can you ensure that you treat yourself with the appropriate compassion if you happen to be living with severe chronic pain? And maybe the disciplinary element should be secondary. It's something like that. So